It's been nearly 2 months since a video here on the Daniel Drives YouTube channel. Shedfest by Auto Alex was the last video, and that's because life has been very chaotic. I've been doing my A-level exams. I'm pleased to say they've gone quite well, I hope. Results days in August, so we'll find out then. But A-levels are now done, which means that summer season can officially begin. And I can get back to doing what I love most, which is standing in front of the camera, talking absolute nonsense about this little Italian piece of metal. And in this video, to mark my grand return, I'm announcing a road trip, a 2,000-mile European road trip that I will be embarking on next week with my good friend Jacob, talking about where we're going to go, what I've done to prepare the car ready for the big trip. And yeah, I could not be more excited. And another thing is, for this road trip, there is going to be daily videos. So if there isn't a video every day, then you can mark these words and you can all tag me on Twitter and Instagram and you can all attack me basically. It's going to happen and I'm really excited to get going with it. So welcome back to the channel, subscribe and follow me on Instagram at DanielCars05. So I'm not going to lie to you all, it's a bit of a dream coming true for me, this road trip, because I'm only in my second year of driving and I'm already branching out into Europe. So at the start of this year, when I did my insurance renewal with my insurance provider, I actually made sure that I was fully covered, comprehensive, for, you know, EU travel, because I knew this trip would be happening. And my friend Jacob as well, which hopefully you'll see on the channel next week, which is when the road trip is. Yeah, we're both really excited to get going with it. So the plan basically is Monday the 1st of July we leave, very soon, and it seems to have gone really quick, the wait. It's always been, oh, we've got 2 months till the road trip, and now it's, oh, we've got 6 days until the road trip as of filming. When this is out, it's even sooner. So day one, going down to Dover, where we're going to get the ferry to Dunkirk. And I haven't been on a ferry in quite a few years, and it's going to take me back to my childhood because we used to live in France, so we did a lot of travel in between the UK and France. I've got family in the Netherlands as well, so that's another past excuse for going abroad. So it's really going to take me back. And first time this car will go on a ferry in our ownership as well. And the first time I'll be in the driver's seat, so that's going to be quite surreal. So once we're in Dunkirk, we're driving to Ypres in Belgium. We're just spending the one night there. We've got a bunch of really cheap, but nice, cheap and cheerful Airbnbs where we're staying. And first night in Ypres is just going to be about chilling, really. Obviously, in the first video, you're going to see a lot about the travel and the ferry crossing and stuff like that. And the whole process of being a young driver driving abroad is going to be interesting. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. And yeah, we're just going to have a few nice Belgian beers and some frikandel and chips from the snack bars. And yeah, I can't wait. That first night, it's going to be really chillaxed, hopefully. And we're probably going to be really achy from being stuck in this tiny little thing for a full day on the roads. So we'll wake up the next day, got the morning in Ypres, and then we're setting off to Nürburgring. So Nürburgring is very famous for a certain car-related location. And if you're watching this channel, you're obviously a car enthusiast. You know Nürburgring is the home of the Nürburgring. Yes, that's right. This car and I are going around the Nürburgring for the very first time. It's just for the Touristenfahrten in the evening. So no, like, you know, competitive races or anything like that, but that's happening on the Wednesday. So Tuesday we get to Nürburgring, we're getting there quite late. If we can, we're going to do a lap around the GP circuit because that is open on the Tuesday. The Wednesday is when the Nürburgring Nordschleife is open for just tourists to go around, do a lap. It's about 30 euros a lap, just works as a toll road. So that's going to be Wednesday evening. So you're probably all asking, Daniel, what are you doing during the day on the Wednesday? Well, the plan is to head up north to Cologne to do the Michael Schumacher Museum. First came across the Michael Schumacher Museum via the Auto Alex YouTube channel when they went. It's free entry. It's got Michael's private car collection, including his F1 cars from back in the day. And yeah, that's going to be quite a surreal experience and I can't wait to see that. And Jacob as well is a like-minded F1 fan as well. So very exciting. The whole trip, to be honest, there isn't a boring day. Every day is going to be really action-packed. And I know by the time we get home at the end of the week, we're going to be pretty knackered, that's for sure. So on the Thursday, it's really testing memory this, I think we head to Stuttgart. Down to Stuttgart, it's about 200 miles south of Germany. from Nürburg, and that is for the Porsche and Mercedes Museum. There's also the Sinsheim Museum, which is local, featuring like Concorde aeroplanes and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see Stuttgart because it's obviously a legendary city for, you know, in the automotive world. And yeah, the road trip will eventually round off with staying for a night in Rheims in France. Obviously the home of the historic racetrack back in the day, which is now pretty abandoned, but you can still go and take photos of the car by the start line. So I'm excited for that. And then start the long old slog home. On the ferry again, Dunkirk to Dover, and then back up to where we live in Cheshire. So doing the math, it's about 1,800 miles in a Fiat Panda 100 HP. So I've actually got no doubts in the car. It's going to be good. I think it's going to cost about £300 in petrol, but rest assured, it's going to be worth it. And I can't wait to take you along for the journey, the viewers of the Daniel Drives YouTube channel. So I hope you'll follow along for the journey. But now I want to take a moment really to talk about what's been done to this car, because obviously it's been a while since the car was on the channel. It's had a few major things done to it. So the first visual change to Paolo, the Panda 100 HP, are these headlights. So I've been eyeing up these headlights for around 4 years now, ever since we first got the car, and I've never actually bitten the bullet and bought a pair. But a guy called David Fulton on the Fiat Panda Facebook group basically had a pair for his 100 HP, but he had to sell his car because I think he needed an extra seat. He got a newer Panda, which meant that he couldn't fit these headlights to his car. So he put them on Facebook, and I went to collect them. I actually went to DC Lomas in Winsford, the garage where Asa works, Asa the Panda God, come on to that later, to pick these up. And I absolutely love them. Controversial, I put a picture on Instagram, and there were a couple of people that were like, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure, Daniel, but there was a lot of people that actually did like it. People that maybe weren't a fan beforehand, and now they've seen it, you know, on a grey car, it actually works well. So fitted these headlights. So this is a kind of daytime running light. That's obviously the indicator. That's your dip beam, and that's your high beam. Now, it did have halogen headlights. I've swapped them out for LED bulbs. I ordered off AliExpress, so 50 quid for 4 bulbs. But it's made a world of difference. The dip beam is decent. It's decent. The high beam is incredible. The only way to describe it really is it's like having 2 suns at the front of your car guiding the way. It is incredible, the light you get at night time. And me obviously working late shifts at the weekend and stuff, going down the country lanes with these high beam bulbs, it's pretty incredible. It makes life a lot easier. So yeah, couldn't be happy with these headlights. And to be honest, they won't be put to the test in Germany because it's all going to be daylight and it's this time of year, so sunset's really late and the sun rises early. So yeah, not the end of the world. They still look nice, but that is not it. There's been some handling modifications too. So allow me to take you back a few weeks ago. It was actually my year 13 awards evening at college, and my family decided to go in this car for a change, not the E-Up, the family car. Decided to go in this car. I mean, they're the same size, so you're not really, lacking any space or anything. And my dad noticed that the shock absorbers at the back were making some funny noises, and actually they weren't doing their job. Basically, the shock absorbers were pretty shocking, excuse the pun. So I started to surf the internet, as they say, for replacement shock absorbers, and I got carried away. So I got springs as well. So in terms of shock absorbers, the OEM spec replacements are Bilstein B4s. So that's what Fiat recommends you get, and they are pretty good. So if I would have fitted Bilstein B4s, it would have set me back about 240 for a set of 4. And they would have been an improvement. But I thought that if I was to fit the B4s, I would spend the rest of my ownership with this car wishing I opted for a bit of an upgrade. So I went for Bilstein B6s, which offer more dampening power, tested on the Nürburgring, but don't worry, I'll do the testing next week. And Bilstein B6s I got direct from the Bilstein website. It's not promotion, by the way, this is just purely my words. For about 350. So it's about 110 more to go for the B6s, but my word, they've made a world of difference. They really have, especially at the back end of the car. Going over speed bumps, it's a lot more progressive. Turning into corners, it's a lot less rolly. It's just more balanced, basically. The springs were looking a little bit tired, and I thought, well, if I'm going to replace the shocks, I may as well replace the springs. So I did a lot of looking. IBAC Pros are probably the best ones to get. but they were a bit out of the budget for now. So I went for Volksland lowering springs, 40mm lowering springs. But when it says 40mm lowering springs, that's 40mm lower than a standard Panda. Now from factory, the 100 HP is 30mm lower than the standard Panda. So really, you're only having a drop of about 10mm. But I think it's made a difference. I didn't actually expect to see much difference, but when it came off the ramp and actually, you know, touched the ground, you could notice it's actually sitting a little bit lower. And yeah, it's really improved the ride. It really has. It's funny how going for stiffer suspension can actually help, you know, with your road holding and manage bumps in the road and stuff. It just feels a lot more premium, so couldn't be happier. So all in, shocks and springs, my word, they were probably 600, I want to say. Yeah, pretty scary, but quite a big job that now doesn't need to be done in future. And obviously 2 people in the car, a load of luggage, long journeys on the motorway, and also the Nürburgring, like the ultimate test for a car. I thought the suspension was probably, you know, overdue a change, so I did that. But that's not it, because it was Asa who did the job. Asa, the Panda god, who actually is the reason we got this car, because back in the day he lent us ours for the weekend, and the second day of borrowing it, we went and bought this one. Very funny story. I've mentioned it in the past, I won't go into details again, but he very kindly fitted some poly bushes to the front as well. Now previously, under braking, harsh braking, the car was very unstable. It was kind of like, you know, jiggling about in your hand, and it just didn't feel right at all. So it fitted new poly bushes, and yeah, again, it's made a world of difference. You brake, and it actually brakes in a straight line, giving you confidence to do emergency stops and harsh brake before entering a corner. So makes me sound like a racing driver. Trust me, I'm not a racing driver, but it's nice to know that, you know, it's a little bit more capable than it once was. So yeah, quite a few changes. This weekend it's going back to DC low mass, to Asa, because it's going to replace the coolant hoses. So ordered 2 matrix hoses, which are about 100 quid for the pair. They're at the garage ready. The radiator top hose I had to get from Autodoc from Italy. They might not arrive in time. So I think we're gonna have to nick them off the race car that DC low mass have, the Panda race car, and then yeah, work from there. But it's gonna have a complete new coolant refresh and everything, so it should be good. Because the last thing you want when going around the Nürburgring is for your coolant to fail, because it could result in your engine blowing up. Really don't want that, because when things go wrong in the Nürburgring, they really go wrong. So yeah, that's kind of an update on the car. It's had quite a few things done to it, and yeah, I've got no doubt. So we've actually just come off a road called Cock Lane, and that's serious as well. It's quite a funny joke between me and my friend Matthew, who's just picked up his second Skoda Fabia VRS in blue, because the first one was a little bit of a dog, but this second one is nicer. So there'll be a video on that coming soon, no doubt, probably on the All Things Auto YouTube channel. But we're on the road now, and yeah, I just want to reiterate basically how competent these cars are, especially for, you know, long haul driving, because obviously 100 HP Pandas benefit from the 6-speed gearbox. So you're doing 70 mile an hour, pop in 6th, and you're probably cruising at around 3,300 RPM, which means that on a long run, you're probably getting high 30s. No, not high 30s, I'd say probably mid 40s to the gallon, to be honest. So it's quite a fuel efficient car, as small petrol cars go. You've also got the sport button as well, if you want that little bit more urgency. But that's not really what the car's about, because as soon as you come off the motorway, you hit the country lanes, and yeah, there's massive tractors like this one, and massive potholes to ruin your new suspension. But it's a very, very rewarding car to drive, and obviously this has got power flow exhaust system as well, so I'm sure that's going to sound lovely when roaring around the carousel. Oh, can't wait, seriously. Just driving this car is it's exciting. It really is. It really is exciting. And when you want it to be, it can be a really pleasurable, simple, comfortable car to drive. I've done 18,000 miles in this car now since passing, and that's a mixture of all sorts of driving. And yeah, as I said earlier, never have I wished it had more power or anything like that. Maybe sometimes, but quite rarely. So yeah, it's a very, very pleasing car to drive, and I couldn't be more excited. So there you go then, a bit of a welcome back video. I'm very, very happy to be back behind the camera, doing what I love most. And I hope you're happy that I'm back. That's the main thing really. And I hope you'll follow me along for the journey on this road trip because it's going to be quite insane. And yeah, I can't wait. It's a perfect car to do it in. It really is. There's been moments in this past year where I've considered, you know, I could swap it for this, I could swap it for that. But to be honest, this car is brilliant. I never drive it and go, I wish I had more of this or more of that. It's perfect. It's got Apple CarPlay, it's got a subwoofer, so it's good for long trips. And it's now, you know, it handles like a dream. It's got the headlights as well, so driving at night you can be confident. So yeah, I'm super excited. So that rounds off this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And the next video will be day one of the road trip, where we are heading to Ypres. So that's obviously the big journey down to Dover, the ferry crossing, which I'm quite excited for, although I do get very seasick. So I've warned Jacob in advance. And yeah, into Belgium, and then maybe film it in the evening there as well. But yeah, all the Airbnbs have Wi-Fi, so if I turn up and one of them doesn't, I'm going to be pretty cross. But yeah, should be daily uploads. And yeah, so stay tuned for them. Subscribe to the channel because I'd really appreciate it. And also just like to take a moment to quickly promote the new Daniel Drives podcast. Yes, it's a new podcast. Presented a podcast a few years ago, started fresh. The podcast linked to the channel. There's 2 or 3 episodes now live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, all of the usual podcast providers. So do check it out. And please leave it a 5-star review as well, because that really, really helps. For now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon.